Okay. Ay, buksan yung card. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Hello.
Doc.
Yeah, good
Morning, Doc.
morning. I missed you last Sunday. Um, I hope the weather will not interrupt with us today because I have a weak internet connection. How's everyone doing right now? How's the storm in your area?
Here
I
in
hope it's
Thailand, Doc, it's
safe.
affected. Doc.
Yeah, thank you. Let's thank God for keeping us here together again. And I see that you're only 10. Maybe the internet connections of other members are weak or still having their lunch. Okay, let's start. I have a good excuse me, topic for today. And shall we ask Sir Solomon for a word of prayer? Sir Solomon Olantau.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Let's let us pray. Our loving God in heaven, we come before you this afternoon, O Lord. We would like to thank you for the life that you have extended to us, and we thank you for this opportunity once again, Lord, to learn uh, the special topics that uh, Mom will deliver to us this afternoon. You help us, Lord, to understand every uh, important information that we are going to learn this afternoon. I pray, Lord, that you will bless some of our classmates who are still coming. Maybe, Lord, that you will give them opportunity to join with us this afternoon, and also may you continue to guide us, Father. Please forgive us from all our sins. And thank you for hearing and answering our prayers. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sir Chaplain Solomon, for a
Yeah.
wonderful prayer. Let's see. The time now is 12:15. Our topic for this afternoon is about suicide. Let me share our PowerPoint. Okay. Um, Palakihin lang natin. Sumobra. Yan. Our topic for this afternoon is responding to emergency call-outs. So this is part of being a chaplain. We are always being called during emergency cases, especially during um, community problems like suicide or emergency cases like accidents. So we must always be very um learned about this topic. So
Hello, Doc.
during those
Hello.
days, yes, coach, doc.
You can maximize the screen if you want, like full
um
screen.
okay, doc, let me see. Ano ba yung pipindot ko
Uh,
dito, coach?
yan
Doc,
po sa
sorry,
baba.
coach.
Sa baba meron siyang book. Next sa book meron siyang parang computer screen na icon doon sa right bottom. 1 2 3 4 yun yung no 1 2 3 yun. Next sa right po, sa right.
Right, this one.
Sige, right nung kanina yung cursor nyo nandoon sa baba ng cursor nyo. Right
Ito
pa
ka.
po. Yan, okay. Wag dyan, palas na yan.
Palakihin ko siya
Yung sa left ulit. Left ng cursor nyo.
dito. Dito
Wag
siya.
yung cursor po, yun, yan,
Type
yan,
ko
yan,
daw.
yung, yan,
This
yan, yan,
one.
yan po, sige.
Yan.
Yes.
Okay,
Click niyo po.
yan. Thank you.
Click niyo po. Okay, yan.
Okay. Nawad. Asan? Wait po. Okay. So, for today, we will tackle about the dealing with suicidal people. Yan. Just recently, I have a football player who has a brother who committed a suicide because of his girlfriend broke up with him. And then he's only 14 years old, and the parents are out in the province, and they were only two here in Manila. So the kuya didn't know that his little brother has a problem. So and he doesn't know that the little brother has a child na pala. Already has a child with his girlfriend. And the girlfriend broke up because they have no money and they are still young. So he committed a suicide. So the World Health Organization estimates approximately 1 million people die each year from suicide. Here in the Philippines, I collected a data that here in the Philippines, almost every year we have 2,500 to 3,000 um, people who committed suicide. Some were able to survive and some were not. So this is a this is a part of a chaplaincy that sometimes all of us are being called here to support the family. So let's have a quick quiz. Please answer this in your paper, and then we'll have to answer this later. So the first question is, people who talk about suicide will not really do it. True or false? Yeah, just answer it in your papers. People who talk about suicide will not really do it. Number two, anyone who tries to kill him or herself must be crazy. True or false? Okay, you're done. Number three, if a person is going to kill him or herself, nothing can stop him. True or false? If a person is going to kill him or herself, nothing can stop him. True or false? Number four, talking about suicide may give someone the idea. True or false? Talking about suicide may give someone the idea. True or false? Okay. We're done with these four questions, and then we will tackle this later. So, the jumper or man with a gun. When approaching someone who is attempting suicide, the chaplain must approach with caution. Sometimes, um, we are acting by impulse, right? When someone called us, chaplain or pastor or brother, my son is acting differently today and he's attempting suicide. Can you come? And then suddenly we run and go to the place, to the area, and we don't even know what to do because this is our first time to encounter such. So we should approach this with caution. Someone who is adamant about committing suicide can pose a danger to the chaplain as well as the emergency responder. If the person sees the responder as a threat, she turn the gun on the chaplain or the responder, then take his own life. Diba? So, this is very crucial. This is very, this is not an easy task for us to do. So, we should not go there by impulse, or we want to help the family or someone else, but we are not cautious about, maybe we can turn the incidents and then we will harm our own self. The subject may feel that you are approaching him with the intent of preventing him from committing the act of suicide and may react accordingly and complete the act. Yan. So when approaching the subject, it is essential to remain calm and avoid excessive movement, such as the use of your hands while communicating with the subject. So don't when you go to the kind of scenario, don't ever make any more movements or gestures, especially your hands. Don't put your hands on your pocket, or don't put your hands inside your bag or whatever. And then he thought you are taking the gun from your bag, but it's a Bible pala, right? So be very cautious and be very careful. The subject may feel that you are approaching him with the intent of prevent him of committing the act, di ba? So this is very delicate. So for example, a bridge jumper who has placed himself on the opposite side of the safety barrier may go through the act of suicide if the person feels your motive is to apprehend him and prevent the action. So for example, it's hard to explain, no, when this is good if we are in face to face, eh. But for example, can you see the scenario? The man is jumping and you are don't ever stay beside him. Don't ever stay beside him, because for the right or for the wrong movement, for your wrong movement, he can even pull you and both of you will fall. So did you see the scenario? Don't ever go beside him. You should always stand on his back. Always stand on his back to pull him, not on his both sides. So always pull him at the back. A jumper who has placed himself on the opposite side of the safety barrier may go through the act of suicide if the person feels your motive is to apprehend him and prevent the action. So always stand on the back, not on the sides of the person, because he will do the act. He will do the act. He will have pride. And then, don't prevent me from doing this. Because I'm doing this, I'm heartbroken. I'm hopeless anymore. So just stand on the back of the jumper. So a person is holding a gun to someone's head or is standing on the edge of a rooftop and threatens to jump is in full command of the situation. Many times a suicidal individual may feel they have gone too far and must go through with the act. The person may fear there is the possibility of incarceration, being held on a 72-hour hold, as well as a loss of career and reputation. So do not deceive them, but reinforce the idea that nothing has occurred that cannot be undone. So let's go to the first stanza. A person is holding a gun to someone's head or is standing on the edge of a rooftop and threatens to jump is in full command of the situation. Yes, this is true. Because if you are the suicidal person, he has a pride already, and if he sees that people are already around him, he will also think that If I did not do it, if I do not do this, they will laugh at me. I will be incarcerated. I will lose my job. I will be in the social media. So, I'll do this now. So, if he is really in full command of the situation and you are not in the full command of this situation. So don't ever make any movements that will deceive him. Just stand there, and let him know that your presence are there, and then wait for whatever he will say to you. So just stand there. Not even if the person is not holding a gun on someone's head or on his or himself, just don't stand in front of him. I have a my lesson in the military training chaplaincy here in my other school. We have a military training here, and um in this kind of scenario, when the person is holding a gun on someone's head, don't ever stand in front of that person who is holding the gun, and between and the hostage is between both of you. And don't ever stand on a place that has no barrier or no cover. Don't stand on a free area that the person or the suicidal person can even take a shot on you. So always take extra caution, and always put yourself on the barrier or on the wall with a cover. Don't just shout there, "Oh, give me the gun," and put it down, put it down. Don't do that, don't do that. You don't know what he is thinking at that moment. So attempted suicide do's and don'ts. So these are the do's and don'ts that we that are we are trying to learn today. When communicating with someone who is suicidal, be mindful of your body language. So as I told you earlier, don't have extra movements. Just stand. Just stand straight, and if you can hold your hand up or raise your hand to let him see that you are not holding any gun or any little weapon, or you are not going to harm him or to hold him. So just raise your hand. Don't put your hands on your bag or on your pockets. Your body language can convey a message, di ba? So the message can either be positive or negative. So this is very delicate. And then be calm and avoid excessive body movement, especially the use of your hands. So don't ever just raise your hand or just put your hands in front, so he will see that you are not holding anything. The most powerful tool you have as a responder is communication. So we chaplains are always, our ministry is a ministry of presence and communication. So we always have good things to say. So we should always be practicing our words that will not deceive them or not give him negative or positive interpretation. So, if possible, get the person to mirror you. Mirroring is a process of calmly and emotionally connecting with the person in crisis and getting them to pattern your behavior. The idea is to diffuse the crisis and to help the person free that there are other options. So, you know what? Psychologically speaking, we know that people who are committing suicide, or especially the hostage takers, they are very problematic people. They are experiencing anxiety, depression, and all kinds of heavy burden on their shoulders. So um as chaplains, we should always be very passionate on them and compassionate on them. Let's not uh, let other people or authorities see us as shouting or fearing, or let's say if I see someone holding a gun or taking a hostage, or committing a suicide, don't shout like, don't do that, please, come here, stop what you're doing. Don't ever shout like that. Just be calm. Just be calm. Don't panic. Because if you panic, if the hostage taker or the suicidal person see that you are panicking, they are very happy with that, because they want people to notice them. They want people to see that they are carrying a big problem, or they are really depressed, or disappointed with what is happening in their life. So if you see them, don't let them see that you are in fear or panicking. So if possible, get the person to mirror you. You know what you are going to do? If the person is already fearing about his life, suicidal people are also afraid to die. They're afraid to die, but they are trying to commit that kind of suicide just to take the just to see if the people are still interested on them, and then get the attention of their parents or their loved ones. So if no one is interested on them, if no one um giving them the attention that they need, they will really do the act. So mirroring them is a process of calmly and emotionally connecting. So get the person to mirror you. If you are just standing in front of them and very calm, and talking with them like just a calm person and not afraid of them, suddenly they will mirror you. They will see that you are very compassionate, and that you are very interested about his life, and that you are willing to help him of his problem. So with the person in crisis and getting them to pattern your behavior, just stand there, talk to them, raise your hand, and then say something like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what's going on with you, or what's your problem. But I'm here for you. I'm always be here for you. I can be a friend. Maybe you know me already, or if not, but I'm here for you, and I want to talk to you. Let's talk about this. Just be calm, and just make him speak, or make him divert his attention. Talk to him. Talk to him. Just talk to him. That's why our tool is communication. So the for us chaplains naman, we have also the zone of safety. So this is the safety area that we are going to stand whenever we go to the suicidal people. When responding to a suicidal person, the responder must maintain a certain distance from the individual to prevent the possibility of becoming the casualty of the crisis. Have you seen someone maybe on TV or on the news, that on the social media, that the one who is responding or helping are were the one who have been victimized, or been dead, right? Did you see that? Have you seen that already? That he's just helping, and then he becomes the victim, because Because if you can see the policemen or the military people, whenever they are approaching a suicidal or hostage taker, they have a certain distance from the individual. Because number one, if you are holding, if the gun they are holding is automatic, or and then they are very nervous, maybe they can just a split second they can pull the trigger and they can kill you. They can make a shot on you. So be very careful. Take a certain distance. Don't go near him, or kayo pa yung mag-aagawan or grabbing the gun. Don't grab. Don't ever think of grabbing the gun or the little weapon on his arms. Don't ever do that. We are not trained to do that. So just take a certain distance to prevent the possibility of becoming the casualty of the crisis, or else you will be the casualty. As a responder, you should never be so close to the person that they can grab hold of you, causing you bodily harm, di ba? As a responder, never get so close to the person. If he has no hostage, and then you get close to him, maybe he can think of, oh, I'm taking this woman or taking this chaplain as my hostage, and then I can go jump with him like that, because we never know what they are thinking at that moment. So never be so close. They can grab hold of you and causing you bodily harm. And the distance between you and the person is insignificant when confronting a suicidal subject with a knife. Yan. Especially if he's holding a knife and he wants to kill himself with a knife. If you just move one step closer to him, and the knife is here on his neck, and then he will shout at you, "Don't come near me, don't dare come near me." And then you make a step and closer. He can thrust the knife immediately on his neck and he will die. Or else, if you are closer to him, he can kill you or he can just grab you. So, take a distance. Wag tayong, don't make a hero of yourself. Yan. If a police officer is confronted by someone with a screwdriver, yan, especially, screwdriver is not a little weapon, but its end is very sharp, so it can be used even in the prisoner. Some time ago, my father went inside the prison cell in the Muntinlupa, Bilibid, and they have a riot there. And then my father ran inside the church, and then the church members also hide. And then suddenly a group of men, they are all holding a fork, and some tools like a screwdriver, and some are holding sharp pencils. That's why pencils now are not being used inside the Bilibid. So they can just only use ball pen, no more pencil, because it can be a little weapon that they can use, and even iron fork, even plastic fork, they cannot use it. So when the officer, if a police officer is confronted by someone with a screwdriver, in many cases, the officer will shoot the suspect in self-defense. So while a screwdriver may appear to be a less lethal weapon, it can be quickly plunged into the victim and cause blunt trauma as well as death. Diba? So it's not a good sometimes we just say, oh, it's just a screwdriver, but no, it can be lethal. If something as simple as a screwdriver can cause great concern to the responder, then a person with a sharp object such as a knife should be handled with great care. So in this scenario, the person may be holding the blade to their throat as in the case of hostage situation, or to the neck of the hostage. An individual attempting suicide with a firearm is going to be far more challenging to deal with because there is no safe distance. There is no safe distance by which you can position yourself other than taking cover behind a safety barrier. So don't ever dare. Don't ever dare. If he's holding a gun, especially a gun, it can reach you wherever you stand. How even if you are far from him because it's a gun. So be very careful and stand behind a safety barrier. Approaching a suicidal person with a weapon is usually going to be at the discretion of the responding agency. So if there is no police, there are no policemen, no barangay people, no tanods, and you are just alone there with a family, be very careful not to go near the hostage taker or the suicidal person. Yan. Approaching, excuse me, a suicidal person with a weapon is usually going to be at the discretion of the responding agency. Other emergency personnel may be charged with the task of apprehending the individual to take control of the situation. However, it is not likely that you as a chaplain will be asked to assist. Therefore, your role as a chaplain is a ministry of communication, compassion, and presence. So our role is just to communicate with the suicidal person or to the family, and then show compassion, and your presence is very important, especially to the family and even to the suicidal person. So why we are dealing with this? Because sometimes, especially we Filipinos, when emergency cases like this, we impulsively ran and immediately wanted to help, but in the end we fail, diba? So this is a good lesson for all of us. So other emergency person may be charged with the task of apprehending the individual to take control of the situation. So therefore, your role is a ministry of communication, passion, and presence. Common misconceptions about suicide. Yan. So as a chaplain and first responder, we are always the first responder, especially if the community, our community or our church community knows that we are a chaplain, because here, even as you can see here in LIMS, if you are a member of the LIMS or if you are already students of this LIMS of our school, you are all learned. Chaplains here are learned. Chaplains here knows what to do in times of crisis and everything. And we are very respectful chaplains. We are not like other schools that don't deal much about this kind of subject matter. So when people or church members know that we are chaplains, they always call us first. In fact, we are the first responder more than the pastors or ministers, because we know that our pastors are very busy and they are taking care of the congregation. So sometimes we have to call them, and then sometimes they have other appointments. But if the community know that you are a chaplain, they always call you, and you are the first responder. So being the first responder, it is important to have a basic understanding of the topic in order to avoid mistakes that could potentially cause more harm. Diba? For example, Yan. For example, while a person may experience emotional pain and suffering as a suffering as a result of grief, or perhaps has a history of depression, emotional pain is not necessarily a sign of mental illness. Yan. So, it's not actually a sign of mental illness. So, this answer our question. If people with who commit suicide have mental illness, so they are not necessarily a sign of mental illness. Nonetheless, the talk of suicide should be viewed as a warning sign and taken seriously. Yan. This is just a warning sign. Yan. So, if you if you suspect that person is what's that? Hindi ko mabasa. Content on suicide. Let me see. Yan. Nawawala na tayo. Nawala ako. Oh, I lose my... Yan. Or is expressing suicide, those being direct and asking questions will determine the level of threats. So, you should always have... This goes to other question, di ba? Suicide prevention starts by asking key questions, dialogue, and open-ended questions. So, here we will learn about the how to question the suicidal person to provide insight to the person's state of mind and provide an opportunity to prevent him. So there are few of the warning signs to be on the lookout for and should be dealt with as soon as possible. So a more subtle but equally dangerous warning sign of suicide is the person's sense of hopelessness and accompanied by depression. So they are just depressed people. Some experts suggest that ongoing feelings of hopelessness are a strong predictor of suicidal tendencies. People who feel hopeless may talk about unbearable feelings. Yan. So they cannot bear it anymore. And predict a bleak future and state that they have no future anymore. They are hopeless. To dispel some of the notions surrounding suicide, the following questions and answer quiz will help you to address those concerns. So yung question natin kanina, people who talk about suicide will not really do it. True or false? Who answered false? So the answer is false. Almost everyone who commits or attempts suicide has given some clue or warning. Yan. So people who talk about suicide will not really do it. No, this is false. Because almost everyone who commits or attempts suicide has given some clue or warning. So, di ba? Talaga sila, nagbibigay muna sila ng warning. So, they will really do it. Did you answer false? Can you raise your hand? Who answered false? With our question number 1. People who talk about suicide will not really do it. Who answered false? Okay. So, false is the answer because almost everyone who commits or attempts suicide has given some clue or warning. So, these are the questions. So, how are you coping with what has been happening in your life? So, these are the questions that you are going to tell them. These are open-ended questions. Do you feel like just giving up? If you ask him something like he will answer just yes or no, it's not a good question. So just give him a question that he will answer. So do you ever feel like just giving up? So if he says yes, and then you can say, what are you, why did you, why are you feeling, why do you have that kind of feeling of just giving up? So are you thinking about dying? Are you thinking about hurting yourself? Are you thinking about suicide? Have you ever thought about suicide before or tried to harm yourself before? Have you thought about how or when you will do it? Do you have access to weapons or things that can be used as weapons to hurt yourself? So these are the questions that you are going to ask. If this is not on the act yet, if you notice someone else is trying to is acting differently and trying to say that, oh, I want to die, I am already hopeless, I'm helpless, I'm already at my wit's end, I cannot bear it anymore, these are unbearable, I don't want to live anymore. So these are the good questions that you are going to your counselee. These are the good questions to avoid them from doing the act. So number two question, anyone who tries him or herself, tries to kill him or herself must be crazy. Who answered true? Anyone who tries to kill him herself must be crazy. The answer here is false. The answer is false. Very good. Because most suicidal people are not psychotic or insane. They are just depressed. They are just depressed. They are disappointed. They are experiencing anxiety, and they are just heartbroken. So they are not insane. If a person is determined to kill him, her, nothing is going to stop them. True or false? Number three question. If a person is determined to kill him or her, nothing is going to stop them.
False.
False. But this is true and false. The answer, even the most severely depressed person has mixed feelings about death, wavering until the very last moment between wanting to live and wanting to die. Most suicidal people do not want death. They want the pain to stop, the impulse to end it all, however, overpowering does not last forever. So, did you know that suicidal people are really afraid? When a counselee come to you and call you that, Chaplain, I want to tell you that I want to die. I want to commit suicide. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Does the person need help, or he's giving you a warning that he will kill herself already? That he is already determined to do it?
I'm actually recording this video over.
What do you think?
I'm Tom Texture, and
There's Solomon.
I think he or she needs help, Mom.
Yeah, that's true. She needs help. That's why she is seeking someone. She is seeking your help to give him an advice or to counsel her, right? Because she herself is afraid to die. But she is already at her wit's end. She's already having unbearable burden. And he wants someone to save her, to save him or her, to keep him from doing this kind of sinful act. He doesn't want to do it actually, but he needs help. And if you as a counselor is not interested because, oh, okay, I will just return your call. I will return your call in just a moment, or I'm very busy right now, and maybe I can go visit you or go to your house, or let's meet somewhere else. No, if someone else calls you at we time, we are, or on an unexpected moment, and he comes to you, he knock on your door, or he calls you immediately and said, Chaplain, please help me. I want to kill myself. I want to commit suicide because my parents is not interested. My parents are not here. I'm alone. I have no one to talk with. You give your full time to that person because he is at that right moment is needing someone to help her to keep him from committing suicide. So ask these questions. You copy these questions. So how are you coping with what has been happening in your life right now? So ask these questions. Do you ever feel like just giving up? And then be compassionate, and if you can go to her house or his house and bring someone else to talk to her, because if she said that I'm alone here, my brothers and sisters, my family are not here, I'm heartbroken and like this, like that. So find time to, if she's near your house, go and visit her immediately. Go to her house and talk to her personally. And if she's far away, don't ever stop talking with her until you feel that she is already convinced that suicide is not good for her or him. So take these questions. So number 4, talking about suicide may give someone the idea. True or false? Talking about suicide may give someone the idea. Who said true? So the answer is false. You do not give a suicidal person morbid idea by talking about suicide. The opposite is true. Bringing up the subject of suicide and discussing it openly is one of the most helpful things you can do. We have a SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education. So we have that, SAVE. So why are we asking him about suicide? Diba? We have a question with, are you thinking about suicide? Have you ever thought about suicide before? I tried to harm yourself before. So you will be able to know that this person is a suicidal person, that this person already has a plan. Have you thought about how or when you will do it? This question is very open-ended, right? And then if he answered that, yeah, I'm going to kill myself now. So ask him, so how are you going to do it? Do you have access to weapons or things that can be used to kill yourself or to hurt yourself? If she said, I have a gun, or I will just hang myself. Oh, so you have a rope already. So keep on talking to him. Keep on talking and asking them questions until they can open their self to you now. So additional warning sign. These are the additional warning signs about suicide people. So you cannot always tell when a loved one or friend is contemplating suicide. However, there are some telltale signs that can help identify a person who exhibiting suicidal behavior. So, number 1 is talking about suicide. So, talking about suicide, for example, making statements such as, I'm going to kill myself. I wish I were dead. Or I wish I have not been born. So if they are just these people talking about this kind of speaking these words are already contemplating. They are already contemplating. And then getting the means to take your own life, such as buying a gun or stockpiling pills, di ba? So maybe they want to have a to take overdose some medicines. I have a player who wants to threaten his her boyfriend, and then she bought a vitamin C, a bottle of vitamin C, and then he took it all. The girl took all the vitamin C. She drank it all, and then suddenly she became drowsy, and then she vomited, and then the boyfriend said, Coach, my girlfriend is in the hospital because she committed suicide, and she overdosed some medicines." And then when I asked what kind of medicine, let me see, coach, and then he asked the parents what kind of medicine that the girlfriend took, and then they said, "Oh, don't worry, it's just a vitamin C, just to make you afraid." Diba? So they are just wanting to be to wanting to take the attention of their loved one. So some are just playing with their life, but they don't know that sometimes it's not good. So getting the means to take your own life by buying a gun, withdrawing from social contact, and wanting to be left alone. So if the person is always been very happy and always been with friends, and then suddenly he withdraws, so that's a warning sign. Having mood swings, so such as emotionally high one day and deeply discouraged the next. So having mood swings, being preoccupied with death, dying, or violence. So always talking about death or making drawing about death, about the cross, about the tomb, about the cemetery, or drawing about kamatayan, or something weird. And then feeling trapped or hopeless about a situation, always telling us that the problem is unbearable. She's already helpless, hopeless. No one can help him. I don't believe in God anymore. I'm always experiencing this kind of problem or dilemma or chaos or whatever that she's feeling, that she doesn't know how to release from this kind of feeling anymore. And then increasing use of alcohol or drugs. So she's not the person is not always drinking or not using alcohol, but suddenly you saw them taking alcohol or drugs. So these are some of the warning signs. And then changing normal routine. So you see, including eating or sleeping patterns. They cannot sleep anymore. They are always awake the whole time, always awake, and very silent at one corner and awake. And then giving away, doing risky or self-destructive things, such as using drugs or driving recklessly. So he wants to die by killing himself by car accident. And then giving away belongings or getting affairs in order when there is no other logical explanation for doing this. So you notice your friend, or you notice someone that you know that giving away all her belongings. Oh, I don't care about this anymore. I know I will not be using this anymore. This will not be of my this will not help me anymore, and I don't care about this. So giving away things. And then saying goodbye to people, always saying goodbye. Okay. Sometimes or maybe they can say, or next year I will not be here anymore, or next month I will not be here anymore, or I don't know if you can see me again. Maybe this is the last time that you will see me, or kiss me or hug me now, go like this. So saying goodbye to people, and then developing personality changes, or being severely anxious or agitated. So particularly when experiencing some of the warning signs listed above. So these are all the additional warning signs for you to know that um, some people in your area, maybe you have people in your area or in your community, or if you're a student, if you are a professor or teacher, or you are a pastor or layman, and you see someone in your community or in your church acting this way, maybe you can give extra attention to that person. Give them extra attention. So how how to handle a conversation or phone call with a suicidal person. So we already tackled about the questions already, how to the questions that we are planning to ask them. So this is the conversation or phone call with a suicidal person. Listen, no matter how negative the conversation. So as chaplains, we are here to listen and to give our ears to them. Don't interrupt them when they are talking, because they want to pour their inner feelings to us. So listen. It may seem that they are just repeating their stories, but just listen. The fact that it exists is a positive sign, a cry for help. They are crying for help. So even if they are just talking the same story, always the same story of being depressed or being hopeless or being helpless, they are crying for help. And no one is interested to listen to them or interested to save them. So just listen and let them pour their feelings. Be sympathetic, non-judgmental, patient. Be patient, calm, and accepting. The caller has done the right thing by getting in touch with another person. So this is the right thing. And you are the right person. You are the right person for them at that very moment. It's a great privilege or a great ministry or a divine calling that person thought of you at that right moment. That person can call his wife or their friends or family or best friend or whatever, or a husband, but at that right moment they thought of you, and you are the one that they seem to be someone who can help them. So the caller has done the right thing by getting in touch with another person, and that is you. If the person says, I am very depressed, I cannot go on, ask the questions. Are you having thoughts of suicide? Yan. So that's the question na. Are you having thoughts of suicide? If the answer is yes, you can ask additional question. These are the additional question. Have you thought about how you would do it? So it's a plan. You want to know if the person already has a plan of taking suicide. And then, do you have what you need? So the means. You want to know the means. Oh, I have a rope here and I want to hang myself. So I have a gun, or my father has a gun, or my brother has a gun, and I want to use it to kill myself. I can just trust a knife on my neck, and then, or maybe I can I can overdose myself with this kind of medicine. So you should know what kind of the means of what he's going to use if he wants to kill himself. So have you thought another question, have you thought when you will do it? So time set. If he says now, today, after we talk. So if he says, oh, it's even me, I will, oh no, after we talk, I will kill myself. I just want you to know that I will kill myself. No, don't stop talking with her or with him. Keep on talking, because if you sense through his voice that he's very adamant, or he's very he wants to kill right now, to kill himself right now, don't stop talking. Don't stop talking. So keep on talking and keep asking the questions, and then keep on telling him some stories about how some person deal with that kind of problem. Or maybe you can ask about his parents or his family. And then if he said, have you thought when you will do it? Now, after we talk. Oh, really? So don't make him feel that you are afraid or excited. Just say, oh, really? After we talk? Oh, maybe it's not a good day for you to do that. Oh, you can say that. And if she said, why? Oh, because I'm still here. I'm here for you. I'm here. I'm very interested to see you, to talk with you. Please give me time for me to see you, or give me time to make friends with you. I'm a good friend. I can be a good friend for you. I'm always here. That's why you call me. That's why you call me. That's why you are here talking with me now at this very moment, because you want my help and I can give you all the help that you want. Just keep on talking. Just give him hope. Just give him hope. And then uh, by just simply talking about their problems for a length of time with suicidal people will often help diffuse the situation. So help them to diffuse the situation. Keep on talking. Ask if the person has taken any drugs or alcohol. Are you drunk right now? Did you take some alcohol right now? Did you take some drugs right now? Well, how is your situation right now? So keep on talking, including prescription, medication. If possible, get specific details. The most important pain coping resource is the help of a trained mental health professional. So we are not professional. We are not mental health professionals. But these are the things that can help us, because me, for example, I already have these kinds of experiences. If people know that we are responder, we are counselors, we are chaplains. My car, I have it in on my windshield. I have a board that says chaplain. I am a chaplain. Yeah, I have a chaplain, and then sometimes I have a phone number on my calling card, and call me anytime if you need a chaplain, like that. If they know that you are a chaplain, they will call on you first, not the barangay, not the pastor, not their pastor. If they have different kind of religion, if they are on the other sect, they will come to you because they know that you will not give them doctrine, that you will not judge them, So let the people know that you are a chaplain. So a person who feels suicidal should get help, and get it sooner rather than later. So we as chaplains, and you are now a student of chaplaincy, you can do this, and always you can also lecture this kind of this lesson to your other to your family members or to your friends in the church or to everyone, so they will also be aware of this. So simply talking about their problems for a long time with suicidal people will often help diffuse the situation, di ba? It will diffuse the situation. So seeking out little means. Ano ba yung mga little means na ginagamit nila, di ba? Yan. Yan. Knives, such as guns, pills, yan. Preoccupation with death, unusual focus on death. So recap po tayo, no? Let's have a recap. Seeking out little means. Unusual focus on death, dying, violence, no hope for the future, feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. There is no way out and things will never get better or change. Self-loathing, self-hatred, feelings of worthlessness, guilt, shame, and hatred. So these are some of the warning signs and seeking out little means. So we should always be very worry about this. And then feeling like a burden. Yan. Especially if the person has illness, long-time illness, and he sees that his family is already in a great financial problem. So, or maybe he has no job and he feels like he is a burden in the family. Getting affairs in order, making out a will and giving out prized possessions, withdrawing from friends and family, self-destructive behavior, increased alcohol or drugs use and reckless behavior, a sudden sense of calm and happiness after being extremely depressed can mean that the person has planned to commit suicide. So, yan po yung mga warning signs natin, mga warning signs that pwede nating makita anywhere, especially if you are all teachers or community people, like especially in the barangay, di ba? Yan, maraming ganyan na mga tao, especially the youth, marami tayong makikita. We can see them anywhere. So, when someone becomes suicidal, the person develops tunnel vision with their full attention and focus is on the matter before them. So what is tunnel vision? We see that the tunnel is a very long, close area, and we can only see what is ahead. And there is only small light ahead. At the end of the tunnel. So, yun lang yung nakikita na, that's what they only see. The small light at the end of the tunnel. So, they are very focused on the matter before them. Yun lang ang nakikita nila. They cannot see anymore their family, their loved ones. They cannot see anymore the people who are who wants to save them, because they are very focused on killing themselves, because that is the only light and the only thing that they know that can save them of all this pain or hurt or depressions and disappointments that they have in life. So that's they develop tunnel vision. So they are overwhelmed by emotional stress. There is a strong sense that there is no possible outcome but one. So the only outcome and the only one that they know that can save them from all this is by dying, by death, by killing themselves, by ending their life. So, by identifying unusual or extreme behavior in someone who is otherwise calm and cognitive in his or her thought process could be what prevents a fatal outcome. So in biblical setting, the Bible does not use the word suicide, but it does talk about several people who died by suicide. And more importantly, it talks a lot about God's heart for people who are hurting, hopeless, or in despair. So even in the Bible, there are people who committed suicide or are helpless, hopeless, and in despair. So the biblical examples where suicide is mentioned is King Saul. During the time that he saw his children are already dead during the war, and then he was afraid that he was afraid that the enemy will kill him, so he killed himself. Found in 1 Samuel 31, 4-5. And then Judas Iscariot, we all know that he hung himself after seeing that Jesus was taken by the enemy, or the what you call it, by the Israelites. And then Ahithophel, and then Samson, but Samson, many scholars see this differently because he was sacrificing himself to defeat Israel's enemies. I don't know your debate on this, or your thoughts on this, but some scholars see this differently. This is not a suicide, or they said that this is not a suicide, but was sacrificing himself to defeat Israel's enemies. So our Bible scholars can perhaps answer that some other time, or in your theology class. So in 2 Corinthians 1:3-4, God comforts us in all our troubles, so that we comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. So the Bible records these events honestly, but it does not celebrate them. Instead, the overall message of Scripture points to life, hope, and God's presence in our darkest moments. So our job, or our role as a chaplain, is to point those suicidal people to life, to give them hope, and to present God to them. The love of God, that God doesn't want us to commit sin and to take our life, because God is the life giver. So I hope, and additional resource, our resource for this topic is from American Association of Suicidology. And here in the Philippines, where to get help if in case we encounter such kind of scenario. So National Center for Mental Health Crisis Hotline is 1553. Hopeline Philippines is the numbers are 0917-800-1123. They also have the Globe and the Smart number, and especially the emergency 911. So we cannot do it. We are not professional in this kind of subject matter, and we are not good in especially if they have a little weapon, but we can immediately dial emergency 911 or 1553 to help us with this kind of situation. So if you don't want your counselee know that you are calling these hotlines to help them, you can call them secretly. Don't tell them that, oh, I'm going to call the NCMH for you to help you. No, because they trust you. They trust you. They want you to help them, and you want someone else more professional to help you, so you can call this number. So thank you for learning with us. Thank you, everyone, and I hope let's pray to God that we will not encounter such kind of scenario, because this is really very this is not a good thing for us chaplains to deal with. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you again soon, because on next Sunday another topic like this will be tackled. Yan. So, yeah, will be tackled. We only have 2 Sundays to go, and we will have a recap. So, if you have a question regarding this topic, you can email me at leabmadrid@gmail.com. So you can ask me question or you can share, and then if you want some topics to discuss here, please message me. And then thank you very much. We already have an overtime. So let me see your faces. Can I see your faces? Can you open your... Yan. Yan. So, Sir Moises, can you take a picture? Yan. Can you take a picture? Yan. I will be taking picture also. So, smile everyone. Smile. Good. Thank you. Yan.
Thank you, Doc.
Yan. Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you had a good day today. So, we have another topic next week. And then I'll say bye-bye for today. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye-bye,
Doc
Doc.
Roddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc Leia. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
also,
you,
Doc Roddy.
Doc.
Bye.
Okay, Doc Joven, it will be your... Is Doc Joven here? Yes, yes. Yeah, it's your chance.